You hear the word cholera and you probably think of something from the history books, right? But believe it or not, it's making a serious comeback. And we're seeing that happen in early 2026. So we need to talk about it. What is this thing really? And more importantly, how do we stop it in its tracks? Let's get into it. So let's start with that nickname, the Blue Death. I mean, it sounds pretty dramatic, doesn't it? But here's the thing. It's not an exaggeration at all. Cholera hits you so hard and so fast with dehydration that it literally changes the color of your skin. All that fluid loss gives the skin this spooky bluish-gray tint. It's a terrifying visual clue of just how serious this disease really is. And this right here, this quote, gets to the absolute heart of the problem. Cholera isn't some random bug that just pops up. No way. Its very presence is like a report card for a community's health and infrastructure. It thrives where things are broken, where there's no clean water, no proper sanitation. Basically, cholera is a disease of inequity. It tells a story about who gets left behind. Okay, so how does this actually spread? The culprit is a tiny bacterium called Vibrio cholerae, and you can think of it as traveling on this invisible highway, a really gross highway that goes straight from one person's insides to another's. Let's trace the route. All right, there's no delicate way to put this. The transmission route is called fecal-oral. And yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. The germs are in an infected person's poop, and they find a way into another person's mouth. I know, it's a deeply unpleasant thought, but we have to understand it to stop it. It all boils down to contaminated food and water. And look how incredibly easy it is for this to happen. Here's a classic example. An infected person goes to the latrine. They don't wash their hands with soap afterwards. Maybe there's no soap or no water. Then they go and prepare food. Those invisible germs just transferred from their hands to the meal. And boom, the whole family is now at risk. It's not just food either. Think about water storage. A lot of homes might have a big drum of what should be clean water. But what happens when someone with contaminated hands dips a cup in to get a drink? Well, now those germs are in the entire water supply. That safe water just became a trap for the whole household. And this problem gets even bigger when you zoom out to the community level. Imagine a shared river or a stream. If just one person upstream relieves themselves nearby or even washes soiled clothes, the next rain can wash all of those germs right into the water. And now everybody downstream who relies on that water for drinking, cooking, anything is in danger. Okay, so now we know how it gets around. But what happens when it gets inside you? What does it feel like? Let's talk about the warning signs because they escalate really, really quickly. The number one symptom, the one that defines cholera, is this: massive watery diarrhea. They often say it looks like rice water, and strangely, it's painless. But the sheer amount of fluid your body loses is just staggering. We're talking liters in a matter of hours. On top of that, you've got vomiting and these awful severe leg cramps because your body is just dumping all its essential salts. And as all that fluid pours out, the body goes into crisis mode. This is severe dehydration. You'll see sunken eyes, and the skin does this weird thing called tenting. You pinch it, and it just stays up. It doesn't snap back. The person is incredibly thirsty. Their heart is racing, and then that's when you see it. That bluish-gray skin color starts to appear. The Blue Death becomes a reality. Okay, now here is one of the scariest parts of this whole thing. A full 80% of people who get infected show no symptoms at all. They feel totally fine. But for up to 10 days, they're walking around, shedding the bacteria, and acting as silent spreaders. It's a perfect recipe for a massive outbreak. So you might be asking, why is this happening now? Well, these outbreaks aren't just bad luck. There are huge forces at play creating what is basically a perfect storm for cholera. Let's look at the big picture reasons. It really comes down to three main things. First up, climate shifts. We're seeing more and more unpredictable, heavy flooding. That floodwater picks up sewage and dumps it right into rivers and wells. Second, we've got infrastructure gaps. People are moving to cities faster than those cities can build clean water systems and proper toilets. And finally, it all comes back to inequity. These outbreaks don't happen everywhere. They hit the hotspots, the places with the absolute worst access to basic hygiene. Okay, so that's the problem, and it sounds pretty grim. But here is the good news, the really good news. We know how to beat this. The solutions aren't some high-tech mystery. They are simple, they're accessible, and they are super effective. So let's shift gears and talk about how to keep ourselves and our families safe. There are 5 key things to remember. Number 1, safe water. If you're not 100% sure it's clean, boil it or treat it with chlorine. 2, wash your hands, a lot, with soap and running water. 3, use toilets. Don't defecate out in the open. 4 is a simple rule for food. If you can't cook it or peel it, then you should leave it. And 5, if you're in a high-risk area, get the oral cholera vaccine. It's a game changer. And I want to double-click on that hand washing point for a second because it's so important. You might think hand sanitizer is fine, right? And for some germs it is. But for cholera, it's not the best option. The absolute gold standard is good old-fashioned soap and running water. That friction and rinsing action is what physically removes the bacteria. Don't skip it. Remember how we said dehydration is what actually kills people with cholera? Well, that means rehydration is the cure. And there's this amazing simple thing called oral rehydration salts, or ORS. But what if you can't get a packet? You can literally make a lifesaver at home. All you need is 1 liter of clean water, 6 level teaspoons of sugar, and a half teaspoon of salt. Mix it together, that's it. This simple drink can and does save lives. So all these personal steps are incredibly powerful, for sure. But the real goal, the long-term win, is to build a world where cholera has nowhere to hide in the first place. We have to move from just putting out fires to actually fireproofing our communities. And the good news is there is a big plan to do exactly that. It's called the National Strategic Plan of Action on Cholera Control, and it's already in motion. And get this, the goal is to slash cholera deaths by 90% by 2030. That's a huge, ambitious target, but it is absolutely achievable. So, look, we know what to do. We have the tools right now to stop cholera from reaching our doorsteps. That's the immediate fight. But the bigger question, the one we all have to think about, is this. How do we build a nation where a disease like this can't even get a foothold? How do we build a future where cholera has no place left to hide,